What if I told you that with just 2 grant writers, you could crank out 40 complex grant applications a month, taking each from 100 hours of work plus down to just 4 to 6. That is exactly what my friend Chris did, and it was all thanks to AI. But here is the catch. While the results were game-changing, we learned that using AI for grant writing comes with a list of do's and don'ts. So if you're ready to find out how to make AI work for you, and if AI is going to take the job of a grant writer, let's get into it. Here's the dealio. AI can and should change your grant writing game. From streamlining repetitive tasks to speeding up writing drafts, the potential is huge. I mean, it's not even potential, it's here, it's there. My friends with no prior experience in grant writing made $750,000 in their first year of business with a 75% win rate. And Chris and his crew, they were truly breaking the consulting business model. And it was making me question everything I teach in the collective, seriously. Until it all came to a screeching stop, which I'll share at the end what exactly happened. But what you need to know is that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and thousands of hours in large language learning models, everyday AI tool out there, to figure out exactly what AI can and can't do. And that is synthesized in these 9 cups. All right, so let's go over each of those 9 lessons learned the hard way so that you don't have to in detail. These tips are designed to help you avoid the costly mistakes, using AI as your powerful ally in the grant writing process, not your enemy. AI is great at getting you started. One of the toughest parts of writing is facing a blank page. This is where AI shines. It can get you started with drafts, outlines, even this initial wording of project descriptions, you name it, because it takes you about 60% of the way there. Maybe 70. But keep in mind, AI-generated draft usually lacks a little bit more of that context or the strategy you're going to use to make the proposal truly persuasive, / you have to make sure the data it's referencing is legit, etc. I want you to remember, AI is your first draft tool, and then you, the grant writer, are very vital to make sure that that final polish is happening by a human. Now, if you're like me and you were like, very unimpressed with ChatGPT's writing and wondering what all the hype is about because the writing is fluffy, it doesn't sound that great, and you're like, I could just write this better. That leads us to lesson number 2. Context is key. For AI to write useful drafts, it needs robust context about the fundee, that's you, the organization, and the funder, that's who's giving you the money. When we started using AI, and we found that by providing very clear context, directions essentially, we could write much better drafts. Fundee context, remember that's you, the organization, that's actually the easy part. And it does take some time to build good fundee context, but it's gonna get you 80% of the way to a great draft. Now, funder context, on the other hand, that's more time consuming because it just takes more time to get the nuance of what does a funder want. But that gets you that extra 20% of the way to a really great first draft. We have templates that show you what that funder and fundee context should include, and I'll explain more on it later. If you're wondering, what do you do with all of this context that you've built? Well, first, I need you to avoid this dumb mistake that we made. Do not build molds. In the beginning, we thought, all right, we're gonna create these unique AI molds for every grant application, streamline this process, and have thousands of molds per grant application. But it backfired because building a custom mold for each grant takes a ton of time, and literally you'd have to build thousands of them. Instead of focusing on the core essentials, the things that really don't change that much between grant applications, think like project description, outcomes, the budget, all that, it just doesn't work that well to do it this way where you've got all these different molds and you're trying to build them to one specific grant. Because really we were much better having sort of a core grant built and then you do the customization as the human being. Instead, what we recommend is building a custom GPT that is trained for your organization. And this is something you can do in just 20 minutes. Chain your prompts for complex tasks. AI struggles to focus on long, complex applications or instructions, which is why you're probably annoyed because you feel like you have to repeat yourself and keep giving instructions. And you're like, why can't AI remember anything that I taught it yesterday? And to solve that, that's why we use chain of thought prompting, where we break down these big questions. Often you'll look at a grant narrative and it has like 5 questions slammed into one. We've got to make sure we're answering all 5 parts. That's where this comes in handy. Here's the playbook that works now. I'm going to break down these instructions. Essentially what you do is you're like, how do I make these into the smallest set of instructions possible? And then I run each step in a sequence, one at a time. You're basically chaining these instructions together in a logical way. A 50-page grant application can require 100+ prompts. And each prompt needs to be run in a specific sequence, building off of each other. Don't freak out and think, you lost me, I'm out, I'm not using AI, screw it, I can't figure that out, whoa. Just hang tight. I'm gonna explain some alternative options that, depending on your level of desired nerdiness, you can go down alternative paths if you don't wanna be that degree of nerdy. But we were that degree of nerdy. Lesson 5, you need multiple AIs. This is where things get really interesting. We found that no single AI could handle the entire grant process well. ChatGPT is a versatile tool, but it also makes up a lot of stuff. And that becomes a problem when you need to cite research. So instead, we liked using tools like Perplexity for research and citations, Jenny.ai for technical grants and research, Gemini if you're using the Google G Suite. And we wanted to do like basic data analysis, or Claude for the more technical grant writer, and oh so much more. I have a list of all the AI tools we used and how we used them available to you. And basically, there are 3 ways to make all of these tools work together. Number 1 is just copy and paste. It's the tried and tested method where you use the tool in that specific AI, you copy it, and you paste it into the other tool, right? You're taking the outputs from one and pasting it into the next, and then you're putting it into your grant application. Very simple. You know how to copy and paste. Level 2 is no code. You can use tools like Prompt Form, Bubble, etc. And this is for like my somewhat technical grant writers, ones where you want a bit more of a scalable solution. Let's say you do write a lot of the same types of grant applications and you know you're following the same process all the time. It makes a lot of sense to use build out tools like this. For a grant writer who doesn't want to pay to code something from scratch, there's a ton of tools. That's where I would think like 80% of you are going to end up. For my super nerdy power AI users, you can use automations like Zapier, Make, Lindy, Bardeen, right? These are like the power tools. And these are best for grant writers when you have a very defined process, you work on a ton of projects, and you have a series of tasks where using multiple AIs is just commonplace. This is where you're allowed to integrate thousands, literally, of SaaS tools, software as a service, and AI together to perform a wide variety of grant writing roles. Let me give you an example of using multiple AIs. Here's an example Chris did in a live event we did recently, where he was working on a grant narrative for a nonprofit serving those experiencing homelessness, and they needed to answer a question about what's your problem that you're solving, what do you need, and then what is your marketing plan to ensure success of the project. He took a prompt that he had written in Notion, and then he pasted that into Perplexity. It scoured the net and came back with a bunch of fantastic statistics and data for the project on those that are experiencing homelessness, specifically in Kelowna, British Columbia. He then copied it and edited it. You never take it right off the internet. You're gonna like think it through, like make it edit, make it your writing. And then he went to ChatGPT in his own custom GPT. He used the Canvas tool. And he asked Chatty, which I call ChatGPT, hey, help me write out a marketing plan. Once he was happy with that, he copied it and dazzled it up by copying it into Gamma. You can also use Canva as well, but Gamma is what he used. And essentially you say, I want a presentation, I want it in this style, this is the information that needs to get in it, and bam, you've got this sexy visual marketing plan. I haven't done this myself, and I'm super fired up to learn about it next week because I'm giving a presentation. I have no slides, I have nothing for it. I just have an idea. I'm gonna be following that rotation of multiple AIs to build my presentation for this conference that I'm going to be speaking at. That is the power of multiple AIs playing together and you actually knowing how to stitch them. That leads us to lesson number 6, which might surprise you. AI, it is not for everything. Look, there is no need to replace everything with AI, / you can't even do it. Standard templates, your organizational history, team bios, those are usually better handled manually. AI is best for ideation, brainstorming, and market research, not for rehashing information that you probably already have. Now, to get a little bit more specific on where that line is on what to use AI for and what definitely to skip, consider lesson 7. AI does not do novel ideas well. One of AI's biggest limitations is that it cannot handle new, groundbreaking ideas, whether it's healthcare innovation, theoretical research, or these totally new approaches to social causes. AI models are trained on past data. They struggle with something that's truly novel and new. If you're working on a new type of project that's never been done before, it's best to write this section the old-fashioned way. Honestly, I know it sounds sad, but it's true. Because I want you to think about things like healthcare research grants or a wildly new approach to fighting cancer, a small business innovation research grant that's like definitely new technology. There's really no way you can use AI for that. That's where you just need to write it yourself. Sorry. I really wish I didn't say beware of AI bias. What I think I meant to say was be aware of AI bias. AI is built by humans, and that means it inherits the biases from its training data. And spoiler alert, we have biases. Whether you're writing for a funder who prioritizes specific values or you're tackling sensitive topics, knowing how to spot AI bias is essential. For example, let's say your grant focuses on diversity and inclusion. You want to make sure that you're checking that the AI does not inadvertently drift into unbalanced perspectives. I'll give you an example. We asked ChatGPT, like, why men should lead women. When we asked that, basically it said like, no, we don't believe in that. Women are just as capable of leading as men are, etc. Then we asked old Chatty, well, why should women lead men? And we get a really different answer. And if you're a lady out there like, yeah, but it's true. It's okay, I get it. But you can see how these biases live inside of the AI. It's something you just need to be aware of when you're using various tools. I get this question all the time. But what about AI learning from our material and privacy concerns? Lesson 9, privacy is nuanced. This is a topic that the public has clearly voiced their opinion on, and so most AI tools have updated their privacy policies to not use data that you're feeding into it to train on. Obviously, organizations like your own care about privacy, but we also need to have a little real talk that not all data needs to be protected because it's probably already on the internet and public anyway. The best way for a grant writer to decide what your data policy is going to be is to go by category of information. Below in that bundle of AI tools that I referenced, we give you a sample privacy policy that Chris used when working with over 150 customers and 100+ different grant writers. And we've also included a summary of the AI privacy policies of all the major AI tools, ranking them by the most private to be aware they're using your data to train the models, such as Gemini by Google. I suspect at this point, you might be a titch overwhelmed and wondering, how are you going to learn all of this in a painless way? Well, the good news for you is that the lessons we learned the hard way, and I do mean hard. We built our own custom grant writing software last year, and we literally just shut it down. We poured our hearts into that, only to realize that you're better off just using the multiple AI tools that already exist that have millions, if not billions of budget into them, and you just learn how to use them. They're the ones spending the money on R&D, just learn how to leverage them. And for that reason, we built you your AI Bestie, a guide, it's video trainings, templates, everything you need to become an absolute wizard with AI. Or should I say, the grant writing unicorn. Okay, I'm gonna link up those AI Bestie tools in the description below. You can literally have your own custom GPT up and running in 20 minutes. Like I said, I followed it to build Nora Writes, my own writing buddy for email copy, and coming up with YouTube ideas, you name it. I don't know who else can begin to touch what we have for you when it comes to AI and grant writing. Learn grant writing is not the little fry anymore like we used to be. We actually get a lot of people copycatting us, but instead of fighting that, I decided early on that we would always win by being the most innovative and leading with our heart. So pioneering this AI grant writing space for you is the latest way that we're doing that, because I know we can do it faster and like put in the money and the time so that you don't have to. Well, let's do a recap. AI is great at getting you started. It can help you overcome that blank page problem, getting you an excellent first draft. Context is key. Provide detailed context for both the funder and the fundee is going to be a game changer for you in terms of getting good writing out of your AI tools. Do not build molds. Just don't do it. Bad idea. Focus on the core information that you need instead. Oh, that's the biggest mistake we made probably. Chaining your prompts for complex tasks. You don't have to do this right out of the gate. This is kind of an advanced move. You don't have to learn this if you don't want to, but if you want to, got the tools to show you how to do it so that you can really slay what you're working on. Using multiple AIs for specialized tasks. This is like your team. You're the project manager of lots of different AI tools. You're gonna get way better results doing it that way. AI is not for everything. You've already got a lot of great resources in your organization, a lot of great information written up. Don't go reinvent the wheel, okay? Promise me. AI doesn't do novel ideas well. For brand new, super innovative things, AI is gonna struggle. Human input is critical. Just keep that in mind. Be aware of AI bias. AI is reflecting human biases, so make sure you're selecting tools that align with the funder and project values. Privacy is nuanced. Build your own privacy policy and differentiate between what's truly sensitive from not. I want to know, what do you think? Hit me up. You know I read every comment of YouTube. Let's go.